just a note here that you can check out the entries for the jam at the link that I've pinned at the top of the chat. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have that link in the description as well. But yeah, if you do go to itch.io and download and play any of these games, and I'd recommend that you do, please rate them. It really helps the creators to kind of get visibility for the jam, to get ratings. So if you play, please rate. Please play, please rate. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? Okay, October 31st. So, what's your costume? I mean, besides a clown. It's not very nice, is it? If she seemed a little testy, it was because Judy was not a fan of clowns. Oh, I guess I'm Perrault the clown, not Puree the clown. Okay. What's your name? Hey, I know that one. I am Mistershins. I'm Perrault. So, you're a French clown. I'm a sad clown. It's a thing. I had to think about it for a moment. It's probably also French. Uh-huh. It came up in a search for easy DIY last-minute Halloween costumes, okay? All I had to do was buy the face paint and the pom-poms. I literally converted my pajamas. Don't judge me. Not all of us are super talented cosplayers. Fine, fine. My Halloween plans were to hide out in my house with the lights off so the trick-or-treaters would skip my place. So I guess this is an improvement. I keep forgetting you're an introvert. Thanks for coming, you know. Nah, I'm more lazy than introverted. I'd never do anything if it weren't for you. Probably. Even in the dim light, I got the impression she was flattered. Oh wow, look at the movement. That's incredible. The Halloween ball at the local library was the big fundraising event of the year. Cheap used books with library markings placed strategically between Halloween decorations. What's not to love? You could have asked me for help, but you procrastinated, didn't you? She had me there, so naturally I changed the subject. So, what are you, Nurse Ratched? Nurse Ratched? I'm not sure I get the joke. I think I do. I'm a bloodthirsty and tyrannical monarch. For a moment, I questioned my eyes. Judy? That's a nurse costume. Sure is. Is there anything scarier than a trusted authority figure gone wrong? She has a point. It's almost worse than if a friend betrays you, isn't it? Never thought about it, I guess. The event was vintage themed this year, which was another reason I decided on the clown costume. Someone had really gone all out. The library was decked out in handmade crepe paper decorations with old-fashioned Halloween designs. Judy nudged my side. Hey, you don't believe in evil, do you? Geez, what the hell, Judy? What? That is the appropriate response. She pressed a book into my hands. I read the title. Oh, I read the title. Grandiose Evil, an Occult Perspective. Judy, you all right? It's a serious question, Mr. Shins. Do you believe in evil? Wow, what a great question, actually. Do I believe in evil? You know, I used to. When I was younger, I believed that, you know, evil was a thing. I mean, greed is evil. We have, I think that we have people that act evil, but are people evil? I don't know if that's not the question. Do I believe in evil? I think I do believe in evil. I think I do. I certainly believe in evil actions, if not evil people. Sure. Oh, there's evil actions. And I figure if someone does enough of that, why not? Why not call someone evil at that point? Wow. Get out of my head, game. People don't want to believe it, you know, in evil. Why is this on your mind? Hey, it's Halloween. I'm just giving you a hard time. Have I scared you yet? Judy could be, what was the word? Intense? I bet this is who you really are deep down, Judy. Just hide it because you're afraid of alienating people. You're probably right. The Halloween ball featured some old-timey Halloween tunes. I couldn't foxtrot to save my life, so I made like a wallflower. Judy went to dance. I'd mingled too, but my corner was comfortable and inertia was a real thing. Idly, I skimmed the book she'd given me. I knew it was her idea of a joke, or I thought it was. But for 35 cents on an absolute steal in 2023, I could be the proud owner of grandiose evil in a cult perspective. Hypnotized, I flipped through page after page. How had anyone ever decided, yes, let's kill some trees for this? I glanced at the publication date. Of course, the 1960s. While the book featured some wild speculations about historical figures like Countess Elizabeth Bathory, Elizabeth Bath? Like Countess Elizabeth Bathory, it was one paragraph in the back of the book caught my eye. One woman became so obsessed with control over every aspect of life, so in love with her vision and ideals, that she crafted an entire world through thought alone. Wow. What you reading? Wasn't this your assignment? Why, Mr. Shins, I'm a nurse, not a teacher. Come along. Judy led me through a hall, past a display of used true crime stories, and into the woods behind the library. Where are we going? Don't you trust me? Is that a cue for my famous last words? She paused and turned to me, her expression mock serious. Why? What would yours be? You're hilarious. I like it. I bet it'll go down in history. Mr. Shin's famous last words. You're hilarious. This time I thought I saw something like sadness in her eyes. Here, I have something for you. She held out what looked like a metal tag dangling from the end of a blue ribbon. I know, it doesn't look like much, but I made it for you. She trailed off, clearly embarrassed. That is nice. She made something for me. She is a good friend. She also got me to come out here, and I'm such an introvert. Is something wrong, Judy? Is that something you say to somebody when they give you a gift? I'll be lucky if I don't lose it, but thanks. No, that's not the one. That's terrible. You want to be a terrible person right now? She seems sad. I think I'll take this opportunity to ask if there's something wrong. We're out in the woods. She's sad. What's she thinking about? Is something wrong, Judy? What do you mean? I mean, why get me this? Why out here? Oh, you know. I was feeling shy. Funny, I'd never known Judy to be shy before. Duck your head. I'll put it on you. She draped the ribbon around my neck. It looks good. You really made this? I'm sorry, Mr. Shins. For what? Darkness shuddered over my world and I stumbled. Numbness stole over me, freezing my limbs. Little rocks traveled up and down my nerves and distorted shadows swam over my vision. I don't know how much time passed, but the next thing I knew, I was on my back, staring up at a ceiling, my head spinning. The air felt heavier somehow, less dry than I was used to. The sensation reminded me of stepping off a plane into a different climate. Why was I staring at the ceiling? Wasn't I outside a minute ago? Had I passed out or something? Where was Judy? Why was it so dark? Is Is this the only one you have for me? Something tugged at a pom-pom on my front. Pure white fear lanced through me, but I couldn't move to knock the hand away. I struggled to speak, to demand to know what was going on, but my voice stopped in my throat. What is this? It's his costume, Your Majesty. We were at a masquerade ball. It's as you wanted. He doesn't have many strong ties. Two voices. One was definitely Judy's. Judy's voice came from my left, but I couldn't turn my head to see her. I struggled. After a moment, I managed to lift my chin, but that was the best I could do. He will suit the purpose. One mortal is the same as any other, as far as the goddess is concerned. Then you are pleased? Patience, Felicia. Should I be delighted when I know not what I have to work with? My apologies, Your Majesty. I'd never heard Judy sound so formal and stilted. Even knowing the voice was hers, I struggled to reconcile it with the Judy I knew. What was she afraid of? What was going on? Footsteps. Was that Judy? I couldn't see her. Where was she going? Fabric whispered. Something cold touched my skin where the ribbon still wrapped around my neck. Then the ribbon was lifted over my head, the band rasping against my jaw. The tingling got worse, morphing into a hot prickling as if all my limbs had fallen asleep and were only now waking up. A mattress pressed against my back. Funny how a moment before I hadn't felt it at all. Hello? Somebody was there, or so I had assumed. Had I imagined the touch? I rubbed my neck and confirmed that Judy's gift was gone. I sat up. An icy chill kissed my face. Was this room unheated? I touched my forehead, checking for fever. Had that conversation been real or some kind of auditory hallucination? Part of a fever dream? My skin was cool to the touch, and I noticed my nose and ears were chilled. What was going on with Judy, anyway? I must have passed out. That was it. Except nothing felt right. I wasn't in a hospital. There were always lights on in a hospital. Had I been kidnapped by Judy, of all people? But why? Slowly I got to my feet and I felt around. My fingers struck something hard and ice cold. A metal bar? I gripped it and felt down its pebbly surface. The side of my hand struck another bar, this one running perpendicular to the first. Was I in a cage? My heart thudded painfully in my chest. Disbelief blanketed my mind, protecting me for the moment from total panic. Does the dark frighten you? I started, then strained to see into the gloom. Is that your goal, to frighten me? It's a little unnerving. Why am I a prisoner? Did I do something wrong? This is a very good question. Why am I imprisoned? Yeah, let's ask that. Why am I a prisoner? Did I do something wrong? Did you? I suppose you'll have time to wonder, won't you? Fabric rustled. I tilted my head toward the sound. Hello? Are you still there? I listened to the darkness, my hands cold and clammy. What's going on? Why am I here? Distantly, bells tolled. Was there a church nearby? It was the only sound other than my heartbeat pounding in my ears. Where is this place? The captor didn't see fit to reply, or else she was gone. Is this what I get for dressing like a clown for Halloween? Is that it? Bad karma because so many people are scared of clowns? Wow, I'm a jokester. Adrenaline could only keep me going for so long. Despair and weariness settled over me and I slumped. I wanted to sit down. I extended my arms and felt around for the mattress. It wasn't a big space, but in the near total darkness I'd gotten turned around. The mattress was in the corner of the cage. I lowered myself down. Without the adrenaline to keep me warm, a chill began to eat into me. I pattered around the bed looking for a blanket. No luck. I wrapped my arms around myself to hold in what little heat I could. Hello? I shivered and rubbed my arms for warmth. My palms chafed against goose flesh. Is someone there? A soft wind whispered outside some distant window. Fortunately, I didn't feel any draft. If it were windy in here, the cold might go from uncomfortable to possibly dangerous. Every bit of luck counted, right? Were there no windows in this room? I got the sense of impenetrable stone walls, although I wasn't sure why, since I couldn't see. There was something dank and cellar-like about the room. Maybe that was why I thought the place was made of stone. Breathing in through my nose, I detected it then. A muddy scent like old, wet plaster. Was I underground? Or was my location both cold and humid at the same time? I don't know how long I sat there trying to squeeze the tiniest bit of information from my available senses. In the end, I was no more enlightened than when I began. Had Judy betrayed me? Given me over to some cult? A cult that worshipped some goddess where the higher-ups went by Your Majesty? None of it made sense. Why would Judy betray me? Who did she work for? A queen? I didn't think there were many of those these days. Maybe the title was figurative, or somebody's idea of a joke. Had I been kidnapped by a prom queen? I pictured it for a moment, but couldn't manage so much as a smile in response to the mental image. My cage was too solid, and the room too dark. Nothing was going to lighten the mood. A bruised weariness lay heavy where my heart should be. When I finally fell asleep, I dozed, fading in and out of consciousness. My dreams were not kind. Day 1. It was the sound of a match that woke me. I lurched upright and blinked sleep rapidly from my eyes. My head throbbed a warning, promising a future headache. A table on the other side of the cage spread out before me in easy reach, its surface lit by a single candle. The scent of the fresh-baked bread lifted into the air, and I drank in the sight of it. Was that a bowl of fresh-picked pomegranate? My mouth watered and my stomach yawned empty. When was the last time I'd eaten? A soft laugh rose and fell. You must be hungry. A woman seated herself behind the table, illuminated by warm candlelight, but there was nothing warm about her. When I speak to you, you may address me. I was starving, and having a bite to eat might fend off my incoming headache. Still, her words felt like a trap. I am hungry. You didn't actually say nothing. You didn't actually ask me a question. Say nothing. You didn't ask me a question. I don't feel like talking to this person. They put me in a cage. I'm hungry. I can tell her that. I feel like this is an opportunity to get some information, so I want to engage with her. Let's go ahead and say we're hungry. I am hungry. Honesty. I do appreciate honesty. Yeah, why wouldn't I be honest about that? Over the coming days, we will get to know each other. There is something to which I must attend, but tomorrow we shall commence our relationship in earnest. Our relationship? She stood. What do you want from me? All in due time, my sweet. Well, that was ominous. She reached out and pinched out the light, throwing the room once more into darkness. What, no food? Come on. I listened for the swish of fabric, but if her dress made any noise, I didn't pick up on it. Hello? Dread, acute and painful, tightened my chest. Suddenly the darkness was too much. I was too alone. Are you still there? Reaching through the bars with one hand, I touched the smooth, polished edge of the table. I ran my hand over the cold surface, moving slowly, so I didn't knock the goblet over wherever it was. The table was empty. Not so much as a crumb remained. Had I imagined the loaf of bread, the fruit? Was I still dreaming? I rubbed my face, pinched my cheek. Was the pain duller than it should be, or were my senses numb for some other reason? What if there was something wrong with my face? Panicked, I lightly smacked my cheeks. No, my face was fine. Everything was there where it was supposed to be. There was nothing right about the situation. I couldn't think straight. Deliberately, I dragged a breath into my lungs. Calm down, I told myself. I was imagining things. Being left alone in the dark could do that to a person. Mr. Shins? Judy's voice. I relaxed and my heart lightened. She hadn't abandoned me. Maybe she could explain what was going on in a way that would make sense. Maybe I was in the hospital in a coma or something and she'd come to visit me. Judy? The lights cast a strange blue light onto the room. She lit the candle on the table. That's not my name. What did she mean by that? Was this the time for confessions? I pressed my hands into my forehead and breathed. It's okay. Don't panic. I ducked my head so I could see her better through the bars. Then, what is your name? I was born Felicia Nesta Malia. Melia? Felicia Nesta Malia. I'm going to say Malia. Hope that's right. Okay, Felicia. What on earth is going on? That's just it. You're not on Earth anymore. I took that in. Of the scenarios I'd pictured, this wasn't one of them. Was she implying I was kidnapped by aliens? You know, I never pictured you as a cult member. When do I get to see the tinfoil hat? Are you dense or just that much in denial? You speak English, American English, just like I do. If this wasn't Earth, wouldn't we be speaking, I don't know, not English? You're so articulate. I don't know much. I'm not allowed to. So I'll tell you what I do know. She is always working to make our world reflect her wishes, her dreams, her tastes. Still, a little of your world squeaks in no matter what she does. For a long time, your continent wasn't densely populated enough to influence us, so that's where most of the portals go. That's changed. So now she takes somebody like you in order to maintain control over the balance of this world. Okay. This is insane, but I don't have a choice, do I? I've got to play in Crazyland whether I like it or not. You're getting the idea. I'm not going to lie, you are probably going to die horribly. She has us. People like me find suitable specimens for your world. Sometimes she wants things, sometimes she wants tales of our travels, and sometimes she wants people. I gripped the bars. Fine. What does she want from me? She'll begin with your memories and experiences. Are you kidding me? How does she get that? Magic? Look, I'm warning you, not consoling you. There is nothing I can do about this. So you're not going to help me? I physically can't help you. If I break my oath to the Empress, I will die. What do you mean you'll die? The power of the oath. We call them demons' bargains. Will kill me if I break my word. This is nuts. You're nuts. You're wasting time on denial. You should make the most of it and ask me questions. She'll be back in a few hours and she can't know I was ever here. Okay. So she already said she's not going to help me, so that's moot. I know you didn't mean to. No, I don't. And what happens if I tell her? Think about it. I'm sure you can guess. I swallowed. Judy, why'd you do this to me? It's Felicia. Why? I didn't have a choice. You still might get out of this alive, or if not alive, not dead. What's that supposed to mean? Be clever, but don't insult her. Agree with her. Entertain her. Entertain her? Wait, is this my fault because I picked a clown costume? I'm glad you feel like joking. I sure don't. Why did you pick me? I thought she'd find you interesting. When I do well, I get to live longer. Well, that almost made me feel bad for you, Felicia. I'm glad I've helped you increase your lifespan. I'm sorry. I should go. Am I going to see you again? I shouldn't have even risked this, but I felt bad. Don't go, please. You get one more question, then I've got to get away while I can. Are we the only ones here? Will I ever see the sun again? What does she respect? Well, that seems like a good question to ask. If I'm going to have to entertain her, like knowing more about the Empress would be helpful. I kind of feel like she's already told me no. Are we the only ones here? That'd be interesting information to have, but it's kind of moot since I'm in a cage. I needed to think about strategy. What does she respect? Nobody and nothing. She's the best thing in the whole world, and it would be wise of you to remember that. Okay? So, flattery? Maybe, but you'd be walking a fine line. A hand seemed to grip my insides, and my voice might have come out a little raspy when I spoke again. So, where am I? In a dungeon somewhere? No, you're in the palace for now. But no one else is allowed in these rooms. She doesn't want her courtiers to know about the other world. Her right-hand man knows, of course, but her voice cut off oddly. Let me guess. You're not allowed to talk about that either, are you? She put out the candle and whirled, her silk dress whispering against the stone floor. She was leaving? The breath froze in my throat. Felicia! Aren't you going to say goodbye? I hit the bars of my cage. Ow. Shaking out my hand, I strained to see in the darkness. Felicia? God, she didn't even say goodbye. My chest tightened painfully. Felicia? Judy! This was worse than I thought, and I still wasn't sure what to believe. Is this some crazy cult, complete with end times and aliens? Not an end times cult. Please, anything but an end times cult. The darkness swallowed up my light words and smothered them. Didn't even get the mercy of cheering myself up. I felt the bars pressing for weaknesses in the welding. Maybe I'd get lucky and the maker of my cage would turn out to have been a complete beginner. When nothing gave, I felt for loose nuts or bolts. If only I could see what I was doing. I forced myself to be calm, to be thorough, and I inspected every inch. It was well made. There was no denying that. I gave the bars a good shake, but they didn't even rattle. A lock. I thought back to the strange woman's clothes and to Felicia's words. Was the technology as old as the clothing? I might have a chance if I encountered an old-fashioned tumbler lock. Of course, without the internet and my phone, I was going to have to figure it out by trial and error. I played a lot of video games that featured tumbler lock puzzles. They couldn't all be wrong, could they? Wait, my phone. I doubted I'd have much battery, but some was better than nothing. I felt my shirt. I was still wearing my clown costume and patted my pockets. Nope, it was gone. Maybe Judy took it when I was immobilized by the... what? What had that been? A drugged ribbon? Frowning, I went in search of the lock. I found the part of the cage that comprised the door. My searching hands found a huge metal plate attached to it. When I tapped the plate, something reverberated on the other side. Was that the lock? I was willing to bet that I couldn't reach it. Hours later, I huddled on my bare mattress, cold and clammy, and defeated. No matter what I did, I couldn't get my arm around the big metal faceplate. It was too big. The lock was out of reach, and because I couldn't see anything, I couldn't figure out a better plan of attack. I stared into the darkness for a long time. Was it day? Night? I had no idea. The bells tolled again, but the number of rings didn't seem to reflect the hours of the day, so that was no help. I wasn't tired. For a while I tossed and turned on the mattress, alternating between wire-tight tension and listless despair. The hunger gnawed at me, and I pressed my hands into my stomach. Pressure helped a little. How long had it been? A day? 2? My lips were dry and cracked. When I licked them, I tasted a hint of salt and iron. I felt it when she entered the room. She didn't make noise, but her presence was heavy and cloying like a dark incense. The fine hairs rose on the back of my neck and scalp. My heart thudded painfully in my chest. She lit a match, and I grimaced. The sweet, warm fragrance of fresh-baked bread rose into the air, and my stomach clenched. I rose slowly to a seated position, not daring to want the meal before me because I knew I would be denied. I pressed my lips together, flattening the rough, cracked skin. Do you know what I am? That she wasn't just part of some crazy cult, but actually thought herself more than human hadn't crossed my mind. You're a fishmonger. A fairy queen? Aren't you human? Okay, so the question is, do I believe that everything that I've been told is true? There does seem to be magic in the cell, like the disappearing food. I could ask her if she's a fairy queen. I could maybe that would be flattering. I don't know what she thinks of fairies. Fairies can be bad news. Fairy queen? I could just say no, right? Let's start here. Aren't you human? She tapped the smooth, polished table with one long nail. You won't even try to guess. I'm disappointed, my pet. It's not good. I kind of like being called pet. A long time ago, my kind walked your world freely and preyed upon them. Preyed upon them? She's a vampire? Like your stories of the vampire, we drink blood. Or rather, we drink life. Blood is only a convenient conduit for life. Oh, so we were dealing with the supernatural, not aliens or cults at all. No, Mr. Shins, don't go there. She only believes she is a vampire. Judy's so-called inability to break her oath sounded like a deal with the devil, or maybe stories of the fair folk, but what this lady now described sounded more like Dracula. So what did that make me? Wait, was I unknowingly interviewing for the part of Renfield? I didn't want the job, honest. Why are you telling me this? I want to get to know you, Mr. Shins. I want you to understand what you can do for me. After all, I need you, though it pains me to admit it. But you could have picked anybody, right? What about magical oaths? It's true, I wasn't expecting vampires. I wasn't expecting vampires. Oh? Crazy murder cults, aliens, and end times? That would be all more plausible than vampires. I bit my lip to stifle an inappropriate snort of laughter. Laughing at her might get me killed. She gave me a dismissive wave. I made this world. I call it an Acer. I made the gods and I brought people to live here, and I control them all. My kind are not so strong in your world. There are too many limitations to our powers. But in mine, I have no limits at all. Everything in my world is pleasing to my eye. You will find it far superior to your own in every way. Everything you might behold in this world has my touch, Mr. Shins. You, too, will benefit from my attention. Perhaps you will be my fool, or perhaps my echo, a pair to my shadow. Perhaps you will serve in my empire. I didn't know what she meant by any of that, but if possible, my mouth went drier than it already was. If you try my patience too far, perhaps you will decorate the city walls alongside the rotting corpses of my poor convicts. I think you got the wrong guy, sister. I don't belong to you. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Your obedience will do for now. I opened my mouth to speak, but she cut me off. So, it is only a costume. It is only a costume. But what does it say about you, these clownish trappings? Are you foolish, Mr. Shins? Are you an entertainer? Are you talented? Boy, what do I say? Well, I wouldn't say talented, but yep, I like to make people laugh. I'm not talented at anything. So according to Felicia, formerly Judy, I need to flatter her and keep her entertained. But if I can't make her laugh, there's going to be consequences. So let's do the, this seems like the kind of middle of the road response. Well, I wouldn't say I'm talented, but I've got a skill or two. Very good, we're being coy. What do you do? I didn't know what it was, but her interest in me made me want to disappear into the floor. My throat constricted and it took me a moment to force out the words. It's not that special, really. Was that a good response or a bad response? And why did I feel like I'd said the wrong thing? She paused, her long nails making the faintest scratching noise on the tabletop. You think I am mad, do you not? I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. The closest I'd come to studying psychology was perusing the pop science magazines next to the checkout aisle, but even I knew she was obsessed with power and control. I didn't think that was madness, but I did know it was one hell of a character flaw. If only it were so simple, but no. Many predators do not understand their prey, do not care to understand. I know you already, Mr. Shins. I know all of you. Every memory you seek to hide from me will be mine. I will know your secret fears and darkest desires. I will root out your hopes and dreams. I will take what I want and leave you with whatever suits you best. Not only will I remake you into the best of yourself, I will cut away the parts that are ugly or imperfect. A cool hand brushed my cheek. Fingers danced across my brow. I jerked away as if stung. I hadn't seen her, hadn't heard her move. A chill stole over me and it had nothing to do with her icy fingers. I was getting an inkling that her idea of imperfect might not be the same as mine. No, she would cut away anything she didn't like about me. If she could, if that was even possible. I didn't think it was, but I was beginning to doubt myself. Did she really have that kind of power? What if she could take away things I liked, things that gave my life meaning? That wasn't possible, was it? You are not the only one who is hungry, Mr. Shins. You know my name. But I don't know yours. She appeared to consider. You may call me Mara for now. Isn't that intimate? You should thank me for this privilege. I grit my teeth at the thought. You are angry. You do not know yourself, not yet. I will teach you. Then her words caught up with me. She was hungry. She was a vampire, or she thought she was. What did that mean for me? What are you going to do to me? It is only the matter of one question, my pet. Do I require that you feel my teeth? Or do I grant you mercy? You are not the kind of person that appreciates mercy, are you? What? She rose and opened the door to my cage. I backed up, hitting the bars behind me, but then she was on me, pinning me with startling ease. One hand gripped my shoulder. She was so strong, stronger than any human. I pried at her hand. No, enough of that. My fingers tightened, then went slack and lifeless. She brushed my limp hand aside. She tilted my head to the side, and I could do nothing about it. Then her lips brushed my throat, and I could feel her spreading smile. Long, strong fingers cradled the back of my head. Two sharp points pressed to my throat, and my pulse leapt. Fangs pinned me in place, then broke the flesh. Sharp pain lanced through me, radiating from my neck. Oh, God. She didn't draw or suck at the wound, but let the blood flow across her tongue. Nauseated, I swayed, but she held me still in her impossibly strong grasp. My body flushed with heat. Then a deep chill settled into my bones. Her grip tightened, and sharp nails left imprints on my scalp. It was too much. A soft sound threatened to escape me, but stuck in my throat. I don't know how long she held me like that, lapping at my blood, the touch of her tongue delicate and unhurried. When she let me go, I fell in a heap. The back of my head bounced against the back of the cage, and I winced. I stared up at her, bemused. My head stung. My throat burned. Her sharp eyes surveyed me with calculation. Now, sleep. She swept out of the cage in a rustle of silk and snapped the door shut behind her. It made a harsh metallic sound. I was alone again, in the dark, struggling to stay awake. I could barely keep my eyes open. She'd bitten me. I crawled to the mattress. I slapped my palm to my neck, feeling around the spot where the bite was. The skin was smooth and whole. What had she done to me? Confused, I rubbed the spot. A little grit came off on my hand, perhaps dried blood, but there was no wound, no puncture. I pressed my cheek to the mattress surface and shivered against the cold. Sleep finally dragged me under, drowning me in dark emotions and scattered images. In my dreams, I still felt her teeth. Day 2. I don't know how much time passed, but I awoke smothered in a blanket of despair. I rubbed my neck, pressing my fingers to the bite mark. It wasn't there. Had I imagined it? The memory of hard, sharp teeth piercing skin was fresh in my mind, and I felt the spot again. No, she bit me. It had happened. But where were the marks? I sat up, my head protested the movement. The spot on the mattress where I'd slept radiated a fading warmth. The moment I left it behind, it began to chatter. Rubbing my arms to keep from freezing, I drew in a shuddering breath. The air was icy, leaving a chill that went to my teeth. I'd been in denial before, but now I knew my predicament was real. If my captor was a demon vampire thing, whatever, I wasn't going to argue with her. Despite the bite, I wasn't sure I believed. For all I knew, she'd had fake, if very sharp, fangs. Vampire or no vampire, I only needed to escape. The solid metal door and the tumbler lock I couldn't reach, well, that presented a problem, and I worried I was running out of time. Actually, I was certain I was nearly out of time. Despite the way she spoke to me, with the kind of strange, tolerant affection one might reserve for a misbehaving puppy, I knew she planned to kill me. Mara had sadist written all over her. She was enjoying this. I would have to figure out something. How long did I have before I lost my ability to reason? Had I actually talked to a woman named Mara, or had I imagined her? These were the sort of thoughts worming their way into my head. How much worse could it get? I licked my dry lips. Was her plan to let me die of thirst? Thirst might do the job, even if she didn't kill me with her own hands. If she had actually bitten me, I could add blood loss to my list of reasons. I was probably dehydrated. Maybe that was why I wasn't already dead, because she wasn't actually a vampire and it was all a trick. After all, I had no evidence that she bit me, as she'd implied she would. I gripped the bars of my cage, and I leaned against them. Is anybody there? Judy? Off in the distance, the bells rang. Did they toll every day or several times a day? Still unnerved, I felt my neck, confirming once more that there were no wounds. I knew it had happened. I remembered it. Was that memory real? Yes and no. I started badly and smacked the small bones of my hand against the metal bars. Pain danced up my forearm and left my fingers numb. Demons, vampires, as you call them, we are not real. Therefore, neither is our bite. You may be wondering, did it happen at all? That was exactly what I was wondering, but I wasn't about to admit it. My mouth was so dry from thirst, it took me 2 tries to form words. How long have I been your prisoner? Such harsh words, my dear one. You've been my guest for 2 nights. Doesn't it feel as if we'd known one another forever? I narrowed my eyes at the darkness. Are you going to kill me? Why are you doing this? Please let me go. Okay, well... Seems like she's going to keep me here and feed on me. Kill me eventually. Why is she doing all this? If she's a vampire, we know. If she is not a vampire, she's crazy. That's why. I'm just going to ask her to let me go. Please, let me go. Interesting. Don't break so soon, my sweet. You'll make me sad. She waved to the 3 goblets sitting on the tablet. On the tablet? On the table, maybe? No? Are you thirsty? I'd never been so thirsty in my life. Are you taunting me? Some part of me only observed, dispassionate and removed. If I was to die, what was the point in trying to please her? Are you taunting me? Planning to let me die of thirst? That would not amuse me. She gestured once more, indicating the table and its goblets. This is my favorite game. Go on. Pick one to drink from, my pet. My mouth was parched. I wasn't sure I'd say no to water that came from a puddle in the street at this point. Yeah, what does it matter? We'll do the one on the right. I pointed to the goblet on the right. She handed the cup to me through the bars. It was way too much wine for an empty stomach, but I was too thirsty to resist. I tilted the goblet back and drank. At first I thought it was some kind of sangria, far too sweet. Maybe it was mixed with grape juice. A chill touched my tongue and spilled down my throat, stealing what little warmth I had left. My hands shook on the goblet and my teeth clacked together. What is this stuff? I wouldn't give you alcohol. You are too weak now. She was right. The sugar seemed to go straight to my brain, leaving me lightheaded. I placed a drop of blood in one of the cups. My stomach clenched and a wave of nausea passed over me. I tried to keep my face straight. What? If you picked the correct one, you will rise again after you die. If you are lucky, you will be as immortal as I am. After I die? What if I died of old age? The effects sometimes last a week, sometimes a month. Don't be afraid. I will kill you long before they would wear off. Oh, well, that's comforting. Great. Now I knew I had less than a week to live. Just like that, huh? Not quite. You will most likely rise and live forever. Would you like that, Mr. Shins? Isn't it better this way? I don't know, am I going to live forever in a cage? You are afraid to die, aren't you? I wasn't a moment ago. Why would you give me immortality? Everyone is afraid to die. Everyone is afraid to die. Must you be philosophical? It bores me. Still, I can't have you telling everyone you're from another world. You must become a part of this one. Naturally, I must prune away the dead branches, otherwise the plant will never flourish. You do want to flourish, don't you? My throat tightened. What do you mean, prune away? Don't worry. It is necessary, and once done, you need never go through it again. Provided you perform the role I give you well enough, of course. Dizziness made me sway. I reached out to the bars to steady myself. One never knows the true essence of a person until all those unnecessary memories are gone. You won't miss them, Mr. Shins. Most of them you never think of at all. Then there are the memories that only cause you shame. Don't you want them to leave you in peace? For always? Sure, there were things I wished I could forget, but I didn't want someone to choose for me. You are quiet now. You were so talkative when we met. Do you finally understand that I know what's right for you? I squeezed my eyes shut and leaned against the side of the cage. There is so much to do, but for now, you should sleep. She rose. My heart pounded against my ribs and I straightened. Take heart, Mr. Shins. Your troubles are nearly over. She blew out the candle and left, silk whispering on the stone floor. I needed a new strategy, but I didn't know what. Gripping the bars, I gave them a good but pointless shake. Then I felt around the metal plate on the door. I still couldn't reach the lock, and now that I thought about it, I really had nothing with which to open it. Even if I could reach, what was I going to do? Use one of the safety pins holding up the pom-poms to my costume? My sad, rumpled, and now smelly costume? I wasn't the sort of person who was afraid of clowns, but if I ever survived this ordeal, I was sure I'd never be able to look at a clown costume ever again. Not without cringing, anyway. I pressed my hands to my face. My hot tears threatened the corners of my eyes, but I did my best to ignore them. I couldn't afford to lose any more strength. Even tears were dangerous when I'd suffered blood loss and deprivation. After a few moments, I reined it in, my breath coming in harsh gasps. Well, my breath coming in harsh gasps. Then I gazed into the darkness, as if it held all the answers. Hours passed, I think, though I had no sense of time. I stayed like that, staring into the shadows of a cavernous room. My thoughts scattered whenever I tried to hold on to them. The darkness and captivity had extracted their price, and that price was thinking straight. I couldn't do it anymore. Part of me knew on some level that I wouldn't be getting out of here alive. It was too late. The hunger and cold ate into me, and I tossed and turned to keep warm. I could no longer focus on escape. When I dreamed of her. Day 3. Are you still sleeping? I rolled onto my side and looked at her. So what happens now? Going to kill me so your magic potion works? Such little faith you have. Never fear. I will teach you to believe in me before too long. It's nearly time, you know. I figured that meant tonight was my last. Slowly, I rose to a seated position. My deodorant had given up the ghost. It just couldn't compete with the scent of stale sweat anymore. It just couldn't compete with the scent of stale sweat anymore. I wrinkled my nose. Suddenly self-conscious, I smoothed my shirt front. My pom-poms were getting knotted and a little ratty. You know, you're kind of a fraud. Please, I don't want to die. No, I'm not gonna be like that in front of her. I don't want to live forever. Why me? I'm nothing special. I kind of think living forever would be a curse. I do. Telling her she's a fraud. I don't think she's a fraud now. I believe her. I'm convinced. I don't want to live forever. You don't know what you're saying. No one wants to die, ever. Not me. One lifespan is good enough for me. Wouldn't want to be greedy. Do you think you are being noble? You are only lying to yourself. Now, my sweet. All good things must come to an end. Your new life is about to begin, and I have chosen you. Be grateful. You owe me much. I could have treated you like a common criminal. After all, you are not so worthy as you think you are. I was beginning to regret telling her that I was talented. The idea seemed to bring out the worst in her, not that there was much to her good side. She set a knife onto the table. Uh-oh. I've already spent so much of my valuable time, all to make something of you. I only want you to become your best self. What's that for? Are you afraid of death? Well, that's a bald-faced lie. I bet you have nothing inside. She probably is afraid of death. I'm more curious about what the knife is for. What's that for? I am not hungry enough to kill you. It is more convenient if I use this. She's going to kill me with a knife? A cold sweat sprang up on the back of my neck. Great, just great. I stared at the gleaming blade. Come close to the bars. I'm not coming close to the bars. No one's willing. I kind of like this response. You're a monster. I mean, a vampire has to be afraid of death. No one would willingly follow you, would they? Does all this power satisfy you? Or approach the bars? I think this is a good response. Because, well, it's the opposite of flattering her. We just call her a name, that's whatever. Talking about her fear of death is moot. But the fact that the people that she chooses are not willing, that might sting a little. If I'm gonna die, let's try to say something that will sting. I mean, no one would willingly follow you, would they? That's it, isn't it? You have to steal people, because it turns out no one wants to be ruled and controlled by somebody else's deranged vision of utopia. Oh, I pissed her off. I thought you were more intelligent than this, Mr. Shins. She opened the door and cornered me in the small space. Oh! Let's just say that her skill with a knife exceeded a level of artistic mastery. I did not see her move, did not feel the sharpened point, not at first. It occurred to me as the warm blood poured down my ribs that she'd had a lot of time to practice. My grip on the bars faltered and I slid to my knees. She watched me dispassionately. She seemed curious and nothing more. There now. How do you feel? Much better? That is good. Do you want to see yourself, my echo? I nodded solemnly. She gave me the mirror. I don't think I can see anything. My eyes were a blue-black darkness that stretched across the whites, swallowing them whole. Otherwise, I looked just as I remembered. No, there was now an ashen quality to my skin, as if all the warmth were drained away. My bloodline was cursed, I'm afraid. It happened when I did away with my nuisance of a father a long time ago. All those who rise from my blood become like this. It is appropriate in your case. You make a far better echo than you would a courtier. She pressed fingers lightly to my brow and traced my cheekbone, my jaw. A little too compliant, I think, but I shouldn't complain. There was less for me to cut away. She touched my cheek with the backs of her fingers, then returned to her chair. I despise talent, you know, so I cut away yours, so its presence would be less offensive. I confess I was disappointed because I enjoy a challenge from time to time. That was not a challenge, that hurts.
I was a courtier.
You were a courtier? Oh, I messed up. One should always ask, who am I? I have made it easy for you by stripping away the chaff. You never know who you truly are with all that unnecessary decoration. That's what memories are, you know. Meaningless lace and frill. I have given you such a gift, have I not? Oh, a gift. Yes, my sweet. Now, who are you, my echo? Who am I? She laughed softly. How precious you are. What have you nothing to say for yourself? Nothing to say for myself. Very good, my pet. I am so glad you are content. You will be happy here with me. Ah, ending 2, The Echo. Krita, Gimp, Ren'Py Engine, Blender. Well, that was creepy, and I think I got a bad ending. Made it 1 month for the visual novel Jan. A Sun Labyrinth game. For more stories set in this story world, check out sunlabyrinth.com. And that was Goblet of Mercy. Thank you to the developer for letting us play. That was S.A. Welland developed this game and kindly let us play. I encourage everybody to go and download at itch.io and try it for yourself. See if you can get a better ending than me. My wife just came through the room and was like, I agree with the courtier. So depending on your responses, there's other endings. So let's shift gears here really quick and see if we can do the next one.